Hey everybody, this is the Y Guy. We are in Portland, Michigan. Here with
Simeon Lau.
Simeon. How are you doing today?
I'm doing awesome, man. How are you?
I'm doing good. It's a beautiful day. Thanks for having this business to come to that I can get
Yeah.
my T-shirts printed. It's been an awesome story here,
Yeah.
and an awesome adventure so far. You got a nice little shop here.
Thank you. Yeah.
Are you from Portland?
I am not. I'm from originally Grand Ledge, which is right down the street from here, not too far.
Okay. Why did you choose to stay in this area?
So I was actually living for the past 7 years, and the guy I started this business with, he was in Okemos, which is on the other side of Lansing. And so this was like centrally between our two homes when we started off. And since we were the two people doing the work, it was like, yeah, let's try to find a spot that's not an hour and a half for one
Yeah.
person and none for the other. So we settled here, and then I recently moved back to Grand Ledge, hometown.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Awesome way to meet in the middle, compromise on both ends. That's a good story. Uh, what's well, we just talked about your business, but the question would be how do you earn a living? But maybe talk about how you got into business or why you
Yeah.
chose to get into business.
Yeah, so I was in a medical sales company before this, me and the other owner, Gabe. And so basically we hit a spot where it's like, man, we're working really hard and it's pretty stressful. And we were looking just for a shift and to do something that we could own and create. And that's the beauty of like owning your own business. It's also
Yeah.
the hard side too.
It is. Funny.
So yeah, we jumped into it knowing nothing about the actual process of screen printing or embroidery, and just like dove in, and we were complete novices and idiots. But we slowly figured it out, and we got this place, and then we added on employees, and now over time it's just kind of expanded, and it's mostly on the backs of our team.
And why screen printing? Why was that the choice? Do you see a hole in the market or?
There was a gap in the market that we saw. There was a lot of screen printers that were super outdated, not using current technology. Their stuff, I mean, I'd ordered stuff for like bands I'd been in and whatnot in the past, and it's like, man, why does this design look terrible? And why do they put it on shirts that don't fit? And why, like,
Okay.
asking all those questions like any
Yeah.
consumer would. And
Yeah.
just being on that side of the table, it was like, okay, if we could make this work. And then we already had the collegiate licenses for a lot of universities that we were printing for, and that kind of launched it, and we already knew we had a base.
Man, that's impressive, and I'm sure to get out of a very secure, very comfortable career that you were probably in before, to go on and have no ceiling, no floor, and endless ceiling, is a scary place to be. It took a lot of courage to do that.
Why,
So
it felt like I was a trapeze artist. It's like, what am I doing? Like, here we are leaving something that's so predictable,
yeah,
into
Yeah.
doing something that's like, I just remember like when we got our first, even getting our first like rental like suite here in this building that we're in. It's like, oh my gosh, we have to pay rent no matter if anybody comes in the door or not. And like those questions that you just don't
Yeah.
think about. And so that was for sure a big shift of just like, all right, we got to figure it out, and I'm not willing to lose. And so we went forward. And also, we both had really supportive spouses. So
man,
my
that's
wife,
huge.
yeah, she backed it, and she's like, hey, like I'll keep
Wow.
working and support our family and make sure that you don't take us down entirely.
Yeah, exactly.
But
Doing probably just as much work in the background.
Absolutely,
Yeah. So
yep.
God bless that. It's awesome.
yeah,
Do you believe that your story, all the ups and downs in your life, could make an impact on somebody else's life?
I would hope so. I
Yeah.
really believe it has to. Otherwise, I mean, why are we here?
Yeah.
Right.
Wow, perfect answer. I love that too. Yep. That's the big key. And have you ever dealt with struggle?
Absolutely, man. If anybody says they haven't, they're either 6 months old or lying.
Yeah.
I would think, right?
I would think so too. I would think so too. What would be one struggle that you've been through that you'd be willing to talk about?
Sure. Give me 1 second to think about it.
Mm-hmm. Take your time.
So, I don't know, man. Like, there's some pretty deep ones that like I probably don't have time to get into, but just even one that's like simple, and I think a lot of people experience is like we just moved from Grand Rapids to this new town 6 months ago, which is originally where I was from, so not that new, but just like losing relationships, and then as an adult in your mid 30s, it kind of sucks to like make new friends or try to just like reintegrate yourself into a community that you don't have those relationships in. And so man, that was just weirdly difficult.
Yeah.
And on top of it, like we've got 2 young kids, and like balancing marriage and work and all of the things. I don't believe in life balance necessarily. I don't think
Yeah.
that's attainable.
Mm-hmm.
But there surely is a a way that, man, just slowing down and being okay and sitting in like moments of like grief or moments of just like, hey, like I'm kind of bummed out, like I don't have my crew around me anymore, or like this seems unfamiliar, is an okay thing to be. Like it doesn't always have to be happy and perfect.
Yeah.
And so that's just one recent one that comes to mind where it's like, yeah, like that's been a struggle. It's just like thinking through like loss of friendships or like changing of surroundings and how you adapt and come through that.
Yeah.
I know that's not like super profound or anything, but it's just the first thing that comes to mind.
That's one of probably the most relatable struggles, though. And it's really one of the most ones that actually keep people where they are because they don't want to have to go through that complete transformation of having to meet just one friend to be around. Yeah. And that's one big thing that I struggled with when I lived out west. And what was the one thing you could say that really helped you when you were kind of maybe feeling isolated or just got back here and moved, that got you into the community to have a good conversation?
Yeah, I think for me, one of the important things was like a church community. And I know that's different for everybody, but I felt like there was a deep home, like just being around people of the same faith was really important for me. So we got plugged into a church that has been awesome. And then also, man, just like being willing to be vulnerable with people. It's like, hey, like you've got neighbors on both sides of you. Like, why don't you go out and meet them rather than just waiting for them to like come to you? And just being like able to step out there and just put yourself out. And if people want to hang out, they'll hang out with you. And some people don't, and that's cool too. Like do your thing. And then just my wife is just a rock star.
I love that too.
She's incredible, and it's just like she asks good questions, and we try to sit down at least once a week and just be like, where are you at? How can I help you today? And like, what do we need to do this next week to care for each other well? And so
I think that one right there, having like a counsel session with the wife, will be a big one for a lot of people within their relationship for advice there too. So that's a powerful one right there. I think people miss out on that.
It's wild. It's like people are in community, and this is for friends, for family, for whatever, and you don't even take a minute to say like, how can I serve you? Yeah. Or just like, where are you at? Like, how are you doing? And sitting with somebody and just like letting them talk without having to solve it for them. Like it's an incredibly important thing that we all need, and we neglect way too often.
Yep, it's easy too. So, I mean, that was an awesome message, and thank you for breaking into that. Yeah, man. That's a big deal, and I really believe that's going to be huge, relatable to a lot of people that are going to watch this video. Yeah. Do you believe that there is in conversations like this or in communication at all, there's a power there? There's a power in communication and communicating with people.
Yeah, it's huge, right? Like, oh man, like how many times have you walked into a grocery store and looked at the people in the checkout line and they're all on their phones? They're standing around people, but they're not engaging whatsoever. Like they're so hooked to their cell phone, or just even like people being, like communication is so huge. If you just ask somebody like, how are you doing today, and look them in the eye, what does that stir in you? There's something there, right?
Oh yeah.
And we don't do that.
Yeah. I mean, for me, it got me out of my own head, to get into somebody else's life. And it was the most transformative thing that happened in my life was to do that. So
that's incredible.
Yeah. And that was a great answer for that. And lastly, my question is, do you believe a message like unity, no matter how far it reaches, can make an impact in a small community or maybe a state or and beyond?
Dude, we are in such a polarized world right now, in our nation especially, and I mean, I don't want to speak for other areas of the world that I'm not familiar with, but the one thing that we do not have right now is unity in a lot of spaces. In a small community, 100% just being able to lean on people that are around your corner and say like, hey man, like we're in a bad spot, can you help get the groceries this week, or whatever it is. On a larger scale though, across our country, like what is the message of like grace and respect and like kindness mean? And right now it feels like it's way too easy to like find reasons why we go in opposite directions, right? Rather than being like, hey, like what pulls us together? And so you got to start small though, right? Like you can't go out and be like, well, I'm gonna like solve the nation's problems with a singular message. You got to start with the people that you care about, the people that you have rapport with and relationship with, and then it grows from there.
Yeah. That was good. That was amazing. Yep.
Cool.
Yep. That's the best advice I think there is. You wanna you have this big idea and you want to start with the furthest reaching thing of it when you could just start with the person right next to you. So
Well, and like why you have a sphere of influence,
Mhm.
correct? Like there's people that respect you and care about you, and why would you not utilize that platform with those individuals first?
Mhm.
And the people that are in our life sometimes are the hardest to love too. And that, like, it sucks, but it's true. And so it's like, man, if I can't love like the people right next to me, well, like I have no business trying to like tell a message of faith and forgiveness or whatever it is to people that I don't even know.
Yep.
So.
And that's it, man. That was an awesome interview. Awesome message.
Yeah.
I believe anybody that watches this can get a nugget out of any of the questions you just answered. So.
And if they can't, I'll give you your money back. Okay?
Oh man, how much was it? I'll remember.
I don't know.
Write it down.
We're still working on the negotiations, but
Thank you. Can
appreciate
I have
you,
a hug, man?
Absolutely.
Thank you so much. Oh, that was a blessing.
Well.